Since I started reading again seriously, I realized something about myself. I definitely need something that is going to be light and fluffy and also make me think critically. So I'm constantly reading like a self-help book and then a romance, or I'll read a thriller and a romance just so that I can have the duality of both. But right now, I am currently reading Atomic Habits, and then I'm also reading Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. If you've been here for a while, you know that me and Lucy are constantly back and forth like beefing. 1 minute I like her, 1 minute I don't like her. And I just realized after this book, we're just not friends. We're not compatible. This book, the premise is good, I guess. It's about this girl who has a twin sister who's just a complete wreck. And when her sister says that she needs help, she goes to go help her, but then she finds out her sister played her, robs her, and leaves her with an 11-year-old niece to raise. And she just ran away from her wedding. And I'm in the middle of this right now, so I don't know all the details, but it's the same problems. Me and her keep fighting about the same things. It's the ridiculous dialogue. It's so cringy. It's so cringy. Anytime I read it, sometimes I'm just like, she was sitting at her computer and she was like, yeah, this is it. Like crazy. And so I'm reading this dialogue and I haven't gotten to the smutty parts, but they're alluding to it. And the way that they're talking, I'm just like, girl, it is not realistic at all. It's like super cringy. I wish she would have the art of dialogue that Abby Jimenez brings to a romance, and then her like plot building, because I think that she has good ideas. It's just, it's never executed well. But then when I read her Christmas book last December, I really enjoyed it. And it was still smutty, it still had that in there, but the dialogue was better, the storyline I felt was better. And then I read By a Thread and absolutely hated that book. I hated that book with a passion. And now this one feels a lot like By a Thread too. And I'm just like, and now while I'm in the middle of reading this book, I'm realizing I might have a 3-book limit on authors. I don't know. I think after 3 books, if I don't like you, we're just not friends, okay? And that's okay, that's fine. I know she has a ton of fans and that's great for her, but I just don't think me and her vibe. I don't know. I hate 2 out of 3 of the books that I read by her, which is just like such a waste of time because her books are very long. So I say all of this to say I haven't had like a good reading month in a long time. So this month I'm very excited to do kind of something new, kind of something old, where I'm picking my TBR with a random number generator, but I've already curated the books in different genres and then how I'm gonna pick them. So I'm very excited to explain this to you. So this is the plan. I have 2 books in each genre. Whoa. And then we're gonna use a random number generator to pick each book in each genre. Basically, this is 12 books and there's 2 books in each category and we'll pick one from each. They're in no particular order, but this is the first category. This is Make Me Ugly Cry. So the 2 options we have is Frederick Backman's Beartown and also A Man Called Ove. Now, both of these books are by Frederick Backman, but this one is Beartown. Beartown is a classic that I've heard so many things about. Literally everyone talks about it on the internet, especially on Book Talk, surprisingly. But this book is supposed to be about a small community and their ice hockey team. These boys somehow like got to the point where they're about to win the finals, and so they're practicing, their community is rooting for them, and then somehow this team is related to like a tragedy that happens with a young girl in town. The back doesn't say, and I don't want to go looking for it, so I have no idea what that tragedy is going to be. Kind of have a hint because it's a group of boys and a girl, but hopefully I'm wrong. And somehow that tragedy like changed the trajectory of not only their lives, but also the community's lives and how they interact with each other. So this is supposed to be like very heart-wrenching, but also thought-provoking and forces you to be a little bit more empathetic. So I definitely feel like that's gonna make me cry. And then the next book is A Man Called Ove by Frederick Backman. And this book is about a grumpy old man who hates everyone and everyone hates him because of his demeanor. But everything changes when he gets a new neighbor. It's this young couple with 2 daughters who are super boisterous, and they just kind of wreak havoc on his life in the best way. And it just follows their narrative about how you can't judge a book by its cover because apparently Ove, the old guy, is way more than he puts out. And it just sounds like a really beautiful, grumpy sunshine in a not romantic way type of book, and I definitely want to read this. So those are 2 options for Make Me Ugly Cry. Let's see what we get. So I'm gonna say A Man Called Ove is number 1 and Beartown is number 2. Let's see what the number generator says. I say we're gonna get 1, so A Man Called Ove.
Nope.
No, we're reading Beartown. Dang it, I really wanted A Man Called Ove, honestly, but All right, we'll read this first. So far, we are reading Beartown. Now the next category is women in fantasy. We love a female main character who's like running the world. So that's what we have here. That's the energy we're bringing here in this fantasy group. The first one I have is the Poppy War. Now this follows a young, impoverished, dark-skinned girl, and she surprises everyone in her community by doing really well on like an entrance exam to one of the most elite military schools their nation has to offer. And when she goes, everyone kind of like bullies her, I guess, because she's not only a woman, but she's impoverished and she has darker skin. And all three of those things just make her an easy target. But then they realize she has like a super ancient, really, really good power of shamanism, and she uses that to help them with the war. And then she finds out the gods that she's fighting for may not be what she thought they were. And I've heard really great things about it, and it's by my favorite author, R.F. Kuang, so I would love to read this month if we get it. Last but not least is Legendborn. This is by Tracy Dion. This is my first book by her, but I love that we have a female main character that is of color. You'll love to see it. This is about Bree Matthews. She recently lost her mom, and she's just trying to recuperate her life, and so she starts going to this university, and her first night there, she sees like a magical attack where this demon is sucking the soul out of a human. And so she's trying to like figure out what she just saw, and someone else who's from that magical world tries to wipe her memory, but he can't wipe her memory. And that just proves that she's also magical in some sense. And then she also finds out that her mom died the same night that there was another magical being around. So she's realizing there's more to her mom's death, which was by car accident apparently, than she was led to believe. So that just follows that story. And as she tries to infiltrate that like Legendborn system, she tries to unravel the truth with one of her friends, who is Nick, who is also exiled. So this sounds very good. I love that there's a black main character in fantasy, which you don't see very often. So I'm very excited for either one of these. Honestly, I'm leaning more towards the Poppy War because I have been telling y'all with my full chest that I read or I'm going to read the Poppy War for like a year and a half now. And it's just really egregious at this point. This hasn't been in my TBR list for that long, but this is like the senior citizen of my TBR list. It's really terrible. I feel so bad. I definitely need to read this. So I'm hoping we get this. Now, I'm gonna say that this is number 1 and this is number 2. Let's see what the random number generator picks for me. Handy dandy number generator, handy dandy number generator. I predict that we are reading the Poppy War. Did I say this was number 2? Frick, I forget. Okay, this is 1 and this is 2. Okay? Number 2. Ah! We're reading the Poppy War. Y'all, am I a magician? I got 2 right.
Flashback.
No, we're reading Beartown. So far, Beartown and the Poppy War. Now my next category is my light and fluffy romances. I don't know if they're gonna be light and fluffy, but romance makes me feel light and fluffy, so I call them light and fluffy, okay? So these are my romance options. The Happy Ever After playlist is about this girl. Her name is Sloan. She lost her fiance 2 years ago, unfortunately. He passed away, and now she's just trying to get her life back together. So in the midst of that, she thinks that like adopting a pet is gonna help her, I guess, get through the grief. And so she adopts this pet, but after a few weeks of falling in love with him, the owner, the original owner, wants the dog back. And it just happens to be a guy named Jason. He's a musician on tour in Australia, and all of a sudden he wants his dog back. So now they're texting back and forth, and slowly but surely those texts turn into calls, turns into meetups, and all of a sudden this girl's falling in love. So that's this first option here. The second one is really unique and very exciting. So this book is about Arlo. He is a young deaf and blind student, and he's looking for love. He had love initially when he was like in college, but it fell apart unfortunately, and he's just like trying to mend his broken heart. And as he starts looking for a new ASL interpreter, he like discovers that maybe that lost love isn't lost after all. Maybe he can find the girl. And he also figures out that the people who can hear around him might not be telling him the truth, might not have his best interest at heart. And it's very interesting for this book because not only is he looking for love, but this book is also written the way that he experiences the world. So as a deaf and blind person, this book is written how he would perceive the world, which is just so interesting. I don't think I've ever experienced a book that has done that. So I'm just very excited for the opportunity to like see the world in a different way, to be more empathetic. So these are our 2 options here. I'm gonna say this is number 1 and this is number 2. My big girl thinking cap predicts. We will be reading The Sign for Home. So we need a 1 for The Sign for Home. magic. I'm literally magic. I'm 3 for 3.
Bro, what are you talking about?
Wow. All right, I'm excited. I think I'm gonna get the rest of them right. Now with this fourth category, I am labeling this Everything I Wish I Knew in My 20s because these two books are about like life lessons that you need to learn early on. Number one is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderson. Now I've heard that this book is a book that all women, but not just women, like literally everyone, should read before they enter their 30s. And it's all about navigating dating, friendship, loss, and everything in between. It's all about like growing up and navigating being an adult because it's hard, and sometimes you feel very alone or isolated, or you feel like other people aren't experiencing the same things that you're experiencing, or the things that you're going through are completely isolated to you, when in reality we're all going through the same thing, or we've all been through some of the things that you're going through. So it sounds like the perfect book. This is actually a memoir. This is not a fiction, and I would love to read this month. Next up is Less. This is by Andrew Greer. This book has the same energy, except it is a fiction. It's about this guy. He's a gay man. He just lost his fiance. His life is literally falling apart, and he's usually like so rigid, so like on top of things. But after he starts losing everything, he gets invited to a wedding, and he just decides to just do it. And it's giving very much like Eat, Pray, Love energy, where he travels the world, discovers himself, sees what he has been doing wrong in his life so far, like how he's just been living not the right way, not the best way for his happiness, and how he navigates those waters and tries to like find a better way to experience life. Basically, it's supposed to be very funny, very witty, but also very like relatable and almost heartbreaking at points, but essential for growth. So I love both of these books. Honestly, it's very hard to pick which one I want to read. I kind of want to read both of them like really bad, so I don't know which one to like prioritize. Honestly, like worst case scenario, if someone was like, which book do you want to read? I would say, dang, I think I'd be gone. I'd be gone because I can't say. Wait. Slow down. Hold on. I think I want to read this one. So this is my number one pick. I'm going to say that this is number 2 and this is number 1. But honestly, I would be happy with either one of these picks. So let's see what the random number generator has to say about that. Let's see what the number generator has to say about that. I'm going to say we will be reading Everything I Know About Love. So it's going to be a number 2. Ready? Am I right? Wow. Thank God I don't gamble. So we're reading Less by Andrew Greer. Honestly, super happy. I would have been happy either way, but I do hope I get to read this soon. I think no matter what, I do want to read this year because I think I'm at a point in my life where I need this advice. Whatever gems that are in this book, I think I need them. And it just sounds so good. It sounds so up my alley. I definitely want to read this year. So bye-bye for now. We are reading Less. Now this next category I named, But Did You Die Though? Because they're 2 books about like serious situations, but they make them funny and they find like the best parts of life, all while giving you like a very heartfelt message. So the first one is The Gunkle. This is by Stephen Rowley. This book has been on my list forever. It sounds so freaking cute. So his name is Patrick O'Hara, and he's also known as Gay Uncle Patrick by his niece and nephew. And he always sees them like once a week in the summer. They always have a great time until one summer, or 1 year, I'm sorry, their parents like pass away, and he becomes the main sole guardian for these 2 children. And now he's trying to navigate like parenthood, how to actually be more than just like the fun uncle, and also discover himself and like learn about what he's been avoiding and stuff like that, and just try to grow as a person in general. It's supposed to be lighthearted, witty, funny, and also heartbreaking at times, but it has like an overall theme of humor, and it just sounds so good. So this is The Gunkle. The second option is The Bright Side Running Club. This sounds so freaking good. Honestly, again, I would love to read both of these books, but I think I would really want to read this one right now. This is a book about Kira. She just got diagnosed with breast cancer, unfortunately, and she doesn't want to tell her family. She doesn't want to tell her friends. She doesn't want to tell her job, but she also needs that support too. So she joins a running club, and this is the last thing that she thought that she'd be doing. But these women in this running club who also have cancer refuse to define themselves by the C word. So they all start running together. And though she initially didn't want to do it, these other women are very funny, they're very witty, they're supportive, and like they know what she's going through. And they unknowingly give her the support and the structure that she needs to get through this diagnosis. And this book is all about like finding your tribe, not letting something define you, and working hard to get through the things that life throws at you. So again, both of these books sound amazing, but I do hope I get to read this one. And I'm gonna say this is number 2 and this is number 1. Let's see what the random number generator has to say today. So this is number 1, this is number 2. We're shooting for a number 2, but honestly, I'd be happy with either one. All right, I'm saying we're gonna get a 2, okay? Dang. Honestly, I'm happy though. The Guncle has been so cute. I definitely love the synopsis. It's not that long. I'm okay with this. Now the last category is super fun because it's thriller/mystery. And I have 2 really good options. The first option is by Miss Frida McFadden herself. This is Never Lie. Now I've literally heard so much stuff about this woman. Everyone loves her. I am ready to join the fan club, to be honest. So this will be my first one. So this is a book about a newlywed couple who are looking for the home of their dreams. And they think that they found it at this manor. It used to be owned by like a psychiatrist who vanished a few years ago, but that doesn't bother them. They get the house anyway, and they're like loving it at first until there is like a winter storm that leaves them locked inside in the house. And while they're stuck inside, the wife, she goes around looking at stuff, and then she finds a box of cassette tapes. And these cassette tapes were like recorded by the psychiatrist who disappeared, and it leads up to the doctor's disappearance. So as she's listening to them, she's unraveling and revealing the things that led up to his disappearance. And then she finds out this huge secret, but apparently it's too late. That's what the back of the book said. So I'm very excited. It kind of gives like Silent Patient vibes, but I want to see how Frida McFadden writes her thrillers and her mysteries because I've heard she's a wonderful author in this category. And if I like this book, I definitely want to read more of her backlist. Then this book, this is also a really good recommendation that I've heard from a lot of people. This is Big Little Lies, and I can't really describe it on my own, so we're just gonna read the back. It says, a murder, a tragic accident, or just parents behaving badly. What's indisputable is that someone is dead. Madeline is a force to be reckoned with. She's funny, biting, and passionate. She remembers everything and forgives no one. Celeste is the kind of beautiful woman who makes the world stop and stare, but she is paying a price for the illusion of perfection. New to town, single mom Jane is so young that the other mothers mistake her for a nanny. Dang. Judgmental? She comes with a mysterious past and a sadness beyond her years. These 3 women are at a different crossroads, but they will all wind up in the same shocking place. Big Little Lies is a brilliant take on ex-husbands and second wives, mothers and daughters, schoolyard scandal, and the dangerous little lies we tell ourselves just to survive. Wow! This book sounds like it packs a punch. It sounds complicated, but like in the best way. I would love to read this, but to be honest, I'm willing to cheat to read this one. Who said that? Who said that? I really want to read a Frida McFadden book, and I'm willing to do what it takes to read a Frida McFadden book. Okay? So let's see what the number generator says for this category. Also, I named this category because it just felt like the perfect thing for this. I didn't have the right words to describe it, but that gave the right energy. All right, so Never Lie is gonna be number 1, and Big Little Lies is gonna be number 2. We need a 1. I didn't even have to cheat. Good looks, good looks. All right, looks like we're reading Never Lie. This is the TBR for this month. Man, oh man, do we have some winners. Like some winners. Because I'm still currently reading Atomic Habits and also that book by Lucy Score, we're not gonna talk about it. I think after that, we should like ease into the TBR list for this month. So I'm thinking the first thing we should read is The Guncle, right? We should read The Guncle. After that, I think I'm gonna have my feet like in the water. I'm gonna be comfortable at that point. Then we can start reading some serious books. Wait, should we do like an emotional gradient? Because then we can read like the lightest of the light all the way into the darkest. What y'all think about that? Yeah, I just came up with it myself. I don't know, I just be thinking like. Okay, if we're going with that energy, we can do The Guncle first. Then I'm guessing The Sign for Home. Then I'm guessing Less. And then after that, that's when it starts getting a little bit more serious. So then it's The Poppy War, I'm thinking. And then I'm thinking Never Lie. And then our only option left is Beartown, which is probably gonna emotionally wreck me. Now that's if we're being a punk and we're just easing into it. If we're just jumping head on, then this is our other option. Well, I really want to read Never Lie, so it'd probably be Never Lie, The Poppy War, Less, Signs for Home, then to warm me up before Beartown, The Guncle, and then Beartown. What y'all think about that? Let me know in the comments below which order you like, order number 1 or order number 2. And whichever y'all say the most of, that's what I will do. All right, because you know I can't make a decision on my own. All right, that is it for me today. I am super excited to dive into these books for the month of June. Let me know also in the comments below what books you're reading this month. Also, what you think I should read in what order. Like if I made the wrong decision, if the number generator made the wrong decision, why I should be reading something else. Let me know. I'm always willing to listen. But that's enough. I love you so much. I will see you in the next video. Bye.